I'll start with, I'll kind of start a little further back. The year that comes up for me, there are a couple key years in my life, and one of them is 2009. 2009 is when I got married, and it's also when I started learning about mindfulness. I think it's when I first started hearing about it. And that was part of a bigger journey for me, which was about um, accessing more happiness and just kind of being intentional about the way I was showing up in the world rather than just kind of stumbling into each day is kind of what it felt like. And I read a bunch of books at that point in time because I wanted so much input. I wanted something new. And one of them was called Positivity by Barbara L. Friedrichsen, PhD. And she uses the word flourish a lot in that book because she's talking about how there's this tipping point, this ratio of positive to negative experiences or interactions, and over a certain point you blossom into flourishing, or a team together, if they have a certain number of sort of positive touch points, they flourish as a team, versus the other word that she uses, which is languishing. And I think both of these are such colorful uses of language for me. Like when I heard that word flourish, I just felt like, oh, like I want that, just like leaning in. I felt hopeful. And yet I also felt a little kind of like, oh yeah, must be nice at that point in time. And I think part of that was my current state. But also part of it was maybe how I was looking at the definition of flourishing, of maybe seeing it with rose-colored glasses of like all good. But I think it has a fuller definition than that. But really, that for me, this desire to flourish, to kind of be thriving rather than languishing or just kind of surviving, that was the start for me of what felt like a conscious journey. And not to say that it was all planned out, it's really looking back that it looks like a journey. But what that journey was and still is first of all about mindfulness, about seeking to be present in my life as much as I can, and as much as I can to be intentional about the way I show up with joyful stuff, with painful, challenging stuff, with all of it. Other pieces here, a big one is self-awareness. I think since that time, reading books and doing lots of different practices and writing has been about uncovering who I am or who I want to be. And then the practices have been a huge deal in my own journey. Meditation and other practices that incorporate stillness, thoughtfulness or heartfulness, nature, things that it doesn't really matter what the practice is, but things that are calming, supportive, and then sometimes invigorating or enlightening. That has been part of the journey as well. And then the last piece I would add, the last kind of important ingredient, has been developing self-compassion. And that's also a work in progress of more and more letting go of judgment to allow myself to grow and change and become something new and make mistakes, fall short of what I thought. All of that has been so important. And so I'm talking about this not because I want to focus us so much on my journey, but because that's what I feel called, pretty much that kind of encompasses what I feel called to bring into the world. To the best part of what I do is that I get to witness other people's moments of like lighting up or learning or letting go of something. So to witness and to hold space for learning, for growth, for connection, transformation. So this is what has me, this is kind of the latest flowering of that what I feel like is my calling.